We know you love your music, so we'll be quick. We love helping you stream the hottest music. And since you're the de facto DJ, everyone's counting on you. So we reimagined Wi-Fi and created Xfinity XFi so you can stream your favorite tunes with reliable speeds whenever, wherever. Whether you're hosting a party or doing a little spring cleaning, you can stream confidently with XFi. This is beyond Wi-Fi. This is XFi. Visit xfinity.com/XFi to learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, now that you're listening to us, you're listening to El Enmascarado de las Conspiraciones live from the epicenter of cool Brooklyn, New York. You're listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. I'm here joined with Jah Jah. What's up?
What's up, baby? Why don't you explain what happened last week? We were trying to show... There's a totally new Spreaker app, and in case you were listening and you got cut off, we were exploring how to introduce news clips, and in lieu of it all, we got clipped off. So we did create a whole other show, and you can scroll back to the Spreaker.com.
I was just about to do that right now. I had to remember to turn up this little dial here. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I am the Grand Minstrel of this orchestra of conspiracy, and you're tuned in to the Bruce Montalvo Show. It is November 20th, 2015, and what a show do we have for you indeed. Pretty much, if you tuned in to the show that you were able to listen to, I want you to just throw it right out the window, because I was pretty much just shilling, because that show was like live breaking news. So I went ahead and said, oh yeah, they killed this people, they killed that. You know what it was? It was just a bunch of mannequins and tomato sauce.
I
don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit.
You didn't say for sure those people died. We said that we didn't know. I said that I didn't think we didn't know for sure that there was anybody. And then I thought about it, and I kind of figured it probably was a New World Order drill, and they
No, it wasn't probably a drill. They had massive drills there, and that's something that we have to get into a little bit further into the broadcast. But first of all, I want to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. You can tune in to the Bruce Montalvo Show every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, from the epicenter of cool Brooklyn, New York, via your iPad, your iPhone, your Android. Be sure to go to the great people over at TalkStreamLive.com, because if you're not on TalkStream Live, you're just some bum broadcasting out of a toilet in San Bernardino or something, right?
Exactly. San Bernardino, or maybe Ohio, Cincinnati.
Oh, God. Those are like the worst cities ever. I mean, a complete loser town. I mean, their teams haven't won anything. What about
these guys in New Zealand and England that want to come and talk radio and start and speaking about the American laws?
I don't want to talk about those guys. All I know is that they get the same type of treatment Hitler gets in hell, which is basically a pineapple right up the sphinx. Anyway, we just came back. We had a very interesting afternoon. We just came back from Manhattan, right? We're over at an antique shop.
Yeah, we went to this gallery. There was a lot of antiques, and I haven't been there. It was like a mall, kind of a galleria, a couple of levels, a very high rent that they need to pay to. But there was a lot of really nice things. Bruce discovered.
I got to hang out with Darth Vader.
It was a 300-year-old Japanese samurai. It wasn't samurai.
It was samurai from the 300 BC area.
Yeah.
Era. Pretty much, it was Darth Vader hanging out with Darth Vader and his Sith lords. It was really cool.
It was the original outfit. It was like skull. It looked like a skull. It was freaky.
None of that. It had ancient sexual symbolism, basically the swastika in one way or another on the armor. But here's what I find to be even more interesting.
When my camera slipped?
Your camera slipped up and it got some of the symbols that were around the samurai suits, and one of them was clearly the Opus Dei symbol.
Yeah, that was so
And when
weird.
I saw that, I have to tell you, we were watching a documentary about ninjas and basically the Japanese...
On Netflix.
Samurai culture, this whole hardening of the body. It's the same type of just masochistic torture that these Jesuits, these Opus Dei, do to themselves. It's the same thing that the samurais do to themselves. And,
Yeah, they were whipping the feet yesterday. We saw this, they showed it in Ninja.
I have to make the correlation to the military history of Japan being linked or co-opted by the Jesuits. I have to. Going back to the whole conversation I had a while back on the show regarding the Japanese flag and how that's an Illuminati symbol, that whole dawn of a new day. What's the new day? Horus rising. Right. That's where that whole culture comes out of. Those ancient Aryans. Yeah. Not aliens, Aryans.
Right.
But anyway, it was really cool.
Yep, well, I studied ninja-jitsu, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I studied for a couple of years. We learned a little about Aikido. I learned how to do flips and learned how to do some sword fighting. And I have some books. I even stole it from my teacher. They said, no, I don't let you.
You stole from your master.
Yeah, I did.
How dare you?
Yeah, they're stolen property. He said, don't just borrow it, give it back. I took it as a thank you.
Speaking of people who steal, you know what I thought was really cool? The coins, the ancient relic, the coins from back in the day. It was like a mixture of Islamic coins and Italian coins. And you couldn't even tell the difference. And that's pretty much very telling.
Yeah.
That their money, you can't even tell the difference between their money. It's the Italians and the Iranians, they're one and the same.
That's
they even have the same flag colors.
That's right.
Bunch of backstabbing halal eaters. La, 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 la. But you know what? I'm just joking. They're being just co-opted by the Jesuits. They're great people, right?
Well, you think that you've traced it all back into one unified operation, even though it's different colors, different races, different religions. It's just been one big Roman kind of
hegemony.
Yeah.
A Roman hegemony. All roads lead to Rome, and they're trying to just co-opt anything they can, any type of movement, just to get people to be against one another, the whole divide and conquer tactics.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so what do you think about me stealing that book? It's I don't really steal, So I'm kind of one of these people that really pride myself on originality, but I don't really steal people's books. I'm usually the one getting stolen from. But I thought it was a really cool move to take the book. I thought it was pretty ninja-like to be able to slick away that book from my teacher.
Snatched it.
I thought that was pretty ninja.
I thought some ninja.
I thought that would give me an extra, level. Yeah.
Disappeared.
Give me an extra ninja level if I could do that and get away with it.
Anyway, you're dope. You're really dope. Anyway, when we were getting out of the subway to go to this antique shop, I looked up at Bloomingdale's, Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I saw? I saw the French flag next to the American flag that's next to the Israeli flag that's next to the German flag. I don't get it. You'd figure that you'd want the German flag as far away from the Israeli flag as possible. And then I find it very fitting that the American flag is right next to the French flag. Of course, that's where common law comes from the French and all that. Our roots go back with the French. Our judicial system, our laws, our way of being.
They come out of Europe. They come out of France and Europe, but
I just find it telling because that's the whole list of suspects that I think staged a bunch of just tomato sauce and mannequins over there in Paris.
I wouldn't go to Bloomingdale's because if you go, I remember what Catherine Albrecht, Trader Joe's, said. She said that one of the first stores around the world, I guess, wherever Bloomingdale's is located, I don't know if they're in Europe. I only know them in the USA, but it's one of the first stores to actually RFID you while you're walking in. You don't even know it, and they're scanning who you are. So there's like
wow.
Yeah, they're going right through your baggage. So they're capturing that your information on who you are, your license plate, so your driver's license, whatever it is that you have, probably license plate too if you're driving into
yeah, they know how much money you have, if you're an undesirable, if they want you shopping in there in the first place.
You need to watch, right? Oh, they have no money. What are they doing in here?
Yeah, what's he looking at that, $130 bottle of Versace? He can't afford that. He can't buy that for his girlfriend, right? For his hoe.
Yeah. That's true. So I would never go back there just on the premise of those things, on the fact that they are. I know for a fact that they'd be watching. I mean,
absolutely.
They say that a lot of the surveillance equipment is created in Israel, also Japan, and Germany. But it all comes out of Nazi Germany.
All the list of suspects of flags in front of Bloomingdale.
Yeah,
it makes complete sense.
Right? That's why I was going to.
All the fascists.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. No, this world really, Jah Jah, has become like so Orwellian. It's like something right out of all those insiders' books. The Eric Blairs and the Aldous Huxleys. I mean, on the subway here, they literally, it's just, you see everybody with their head in their iPhone. I mean, it's cool if they're listening to the Bruce Montalvo show.
Or Jah Jah, right? They downloaded Jah Jah
right,
off
I
iTunes.
mean, that's cool, but really, they're just looking at a whole bunch of hooey. And it's like Fahrenheit 451. They got their seashells in their heads. They're walking around the Brooklyn Bridge like zombies. They're being spoon-fed this information left and right. Oh, yeah, they killed this many people at the theater. It's complete and total hooey. I don't buy it. I mean, come on. This band from Laurel Canyon they chose to have in France at the time, whatever the hell they're called, Eagles of Death. They're singing Kiss the Devil at the time, doing some type of satanic incantation, having everybody do the witchcraft devil horn symbols. And it just sounds so far-fetched, so sensational to me. I just don't buy it. And why do they gotta blur out the bodies? Why? Because they're mannequins. That's why. They just went out there and they put a bunch of Scalfani's tomato sauce all over the place.
Well, it was days and days later. Last week we were like, we want blood. We want blood. We want to see.
But that's not blood. It's a bunch of fake, phony, baloney Halloween blood.
Okay, so I wanted to not believe you for a second when we pointed it out, of course, because I want to try to see if maybe there's this still little glimmer of hope. So I'm looking really hard at the crime scene, and I never went to crime school like you did. So, but I'm just looking at it. I'm like, if those are really bodies, then why are people able to walk by? Why isn't the whole area really closed off? And why wasn't there more police tape even in further amounts of areas where there would be, like you said, bullets flying out, maybe scraps on the floor to tell what bullet that was in the hole.
It was a music video shoot. It was a CIA Laurel Canyon Illuminati music video shoot. That's what it was. Okay,
it's no different than
people,
Hollywood.
It was Hollywood. It was propaganda. That's the problem. You go into Bloomingdale's, they RFID you, and then the news you get is all fake.
Well,
I'm telling you.
The film industry is really big in Paris, too. They have Canal Zone, and Canal 1,
yeah,
Canal
they have good
and,
features.
And Studio
yes.
Canal.
Yeah. And what do you see? What do you see? That big Illuminati eyeball flashing in the sky all the time. Yeah. Everywhere you look, CBS, everything, Canal, all of them.
Hey,
look,
speaking of CBS and ABC, we saw something with the whole InfoWars people over in Paris.
Oh, I hate saying their names. Basically, it's just a bunch of a Santa Claus army provocateur psyops division just being flown out to Paris with beards that look like Santa Claus.
They're not conspiracy.
But look, check this out. Check this out. I want to make a point here. I want to make a point here. It's not the Syrian refugees that are the problem. Okay, it's the freaking Freemasons who are running these mosques and the Jesuits who wrote their Quran and the CIA who creates these manufactured fake terror attacks. Right? They want to say, oh, Bay Ridge has a big influx of ISIS and this and that. We walk down the street with all these halal slangers, and none of them would hurt a fly. None of them would hurt a fly. And you know what? When I look right into the freaking Jesuit co-opted Catholic mosque, the first thing I see is a checkerboard floor. That tells me who's running the joint and who's making them kneel and stand and kneel and stand and kneel and stand. And they're trying to have this whole Islamophobia. It's not Islamophobia. There should be Catholic phobia, all right? If I was freaking Dwight D. Eisenhower at the time, even though that guy's totally co-opted, and he could go eat a fat one for his operation that inspired Donald Trump against the Latinos. But if I was him, I would have stormed the Vatican instead of Normandy.
Yeah, well, it goes. I think about your Sephardic, converted, co-opted, Holy Roman Catholic upbringing, where they had you in.
I threw that out the window.
In Mexico, where they had you crawling into the.
Well, that's when I visited my grandmother. They had me crawling into
a
Zapopan.
Church, right? So
they did that.
So
to
the
all
idea
the
of being on your knees and crawling. And Judaism, you don't do that.
Absolutely
you know?
not.
You know what I'm saying? And then the Muslims.
And you only pray to one God.
Yeah, and so do the Muslims. It's the same thing, but it's not 3, it's not 12, it's just 1. But I think that you're right about them getting on their knees. I never felt right about it. I thought about it. I was like, why do they get on their knees? It demeans them. It makes them less. I mean, I can understand people might need humility, but at the same time, they humble these people to the point where they're totally illiterate, and where you have, like in Egypt, 80% of illiteracy rate is just not right this day and age, especially since Egypt was always the foremost.
The
forefront of everything, of so many, religions, and the forefront of all the religions, at least, if not so much ancient knowledge and energy and all kinds of science and architecture and even jewelry.
Egypt predates both Islam and, of course, Judaism. So for all these KKK bigots out there in radio that are working for Stratfor and the CIA and all them to go out and rave and rant about, with their David Dukes and whatnot, about it's the Jews and running the whole shebang. Absolutely not. If anything, it's a Germanic, Bavarian, Anglo-Saxon New World Order that they call the Old Anglo World Order, but they got to call it the New World Order because that doesn't sound fashionable.
Yeah, that
doesn't sound very fashionable to the guy in Mexico or the guy in El Salvador,
so
or the guy in Canada.
Right, El Salvador. Well, I just want to say something about. Everybody always wants to know who the New World Order is, and I think it's pretty interesting to cover it because all those other shill radio shows, they jump around it with their fancy words, globalism, blah, blah, blah.
No, I don't jump around. I don't gatekeep. I tell you who it is. Right? It's the old druids that freaking raise Beelzebub and Leviathan at their goddamn Bohemian groves. That's who's running the joint.
Okay, but who are those people? Why don't you go into who they are today?
Well, there's many bloodlines. And first, I want to get into the Paris attacks, okay? Because you mentioned... Oh, God, what? They're sending a bunch of shills that are pretending to be alternative media.
But now you're covering up for who the real...
I'm not covering up
who the real New World Order is. I just said, let's talk about it.
Who am I covering up for?
Yeah.
I'm not covering up anything,
okay.
Jah Jah. I will expose Astor, the Bundy, the Rothschilds who aren't Jewish, they're German. Those
are the shill New World Order people. Those are the ones that everybody in the Patriot Movement or Truth Movement want to say.
And that's exactly what I'm saying.
No, let me say something, please.
Go ahead.
Okay? Thank you. Right now, what we've been exposing week after week is the whole Lebensborn program, and all of them go. You'll find them in every crevice of Hollywood, of the TV, of music, art world. Those people, those higher ups, are the New World Order. They're international. You have other world leaders. Okay, they're not just those stupid families. Okay, and I agree with you that they're there. Okay, but they're also more. They're the shill 12 families. That's what everybody wants to pinpoint them. It is now.
And none of them are Jewish.
Exactly.
None of them. Do you understand?
Jewish.
So who am I shilling for? This is what I wanted to say. First of all, you have these unfunny comedians. You have these shills who are sending out their army psyop provocateurs out to France. They want you to believe this hoax that's pretty much just a bunch of mannequins and tomato sauce propaganda. That's what I'm calling it. Mannequin and tomato sauce propaganda. You have the U.S. Army, folks. The U.S. Army has strongholds all over Europe, all over everywhere. But especially in Europe. They have a U.S.
They're still in Germany.
Army Europe Twitter. So, you know, all these guys that at one point, their bosses in alternative media, these shills, these unfunny comedians that had to fake their deaths probably. These guys that work for ABC now. At one point, they were steering you to believe and spot out these false flags and to believe out the government, the shadow government, operated with these black budgets, pulls these things off. Now they want you to believe that these drills, these massive drills, because they had the same type of drills they had on 7/7, the same type of drills they had on 9/11, they had during the Paris attacks.
Oh, yeah.
So now these guys aren't covering that anymore because 9/11 is gone. It's dust in the wind, just like those Twin Towers went dustified in the wind. It's gone. They're not covering that. Why? Because they've been co-opted by the CIA, the Central Intelligence Office, who was created by the Nazis.
Yes.
And who allowed the Nazis to just hide and resurface into America, escaping justice?
The FBI.
No,
and
the FBI, the CIA, but most importantly, it was the Vatican.
The Vatican.
It was the Vatican rat lines.
Okay.
Which leads me again to this whole, you know, it's
and who's
not,
in the
you
Vatican
don't have
now?
to be a Jesuit
They're not Italians,
to be a Jesuit. I mean, it goes back. Even as back as 300 BC to what we mentioned.
Was Ratzinger even Italian? No.
I thought it was German.
Were they Roman? No.
He was actually a Hitler Youth.
Yeah, both
and
of his parents.
You can see proof of that.
His his father and his stepfather were Hitler Jugend. And he said publicly that he felt bad about it, and he's like, you know, like...
But you gotta understand my frustrations when I turn on what was supposed to be conservative and, you know, alternative talk radio, and you hear nothing but neocons who slang toxic waste as a drink. These scavengers who should pretty much just stop stealing my oxygen. Seriously, these bastard shills. I mean, you gotta understand my anger, because all these people do day in, day out is shill.
Well, they look for the coolest people around and who they can, you know, scavenge from. You know what I'm saying? They just, what is he doing? What is she doing? What are they doing? You know, and that's
with what? The NSA intel. They even get sent cups by the NSA.
Yeah, and they just kind of read the scripts and then they just go with it and look who to provoke.
They take selfies with NSA cups.
I know. It's incessant. They just completely, they're bought in, they're bought and paid for. We're just little peons, nobodies. And we don't even make money doing this.
But we have a huge platform, and we're all about the money.
And we love TalkStream
I'm
Live.
about to summon, absolutely, TalkStream Live is the greatest outlet ever. And let me tell you something, I think I did like an Illuminati ritual the other day, and I'm about to make it rain.
Oh, no. What did you do?
Because I smashed a life with a hammer.
Oh, God, you're going to talk about that?
That's right, a blood sacrifice for the Bruce Montalvo show.
All right, well, first you have to explain that
we were renovating our entire kitchen. And you know these buildings in New York, I mean, it's getting bad. I mean, they got mice and rats all over the goddamn streets. This Diablazio just brought a plague. Literally, I mean, all this 9/11 nostalgia they're trying to bolster up too, and they're dumping rats.
There was some kind of a pipe that was going from one apartment or in the building that was coming and funneling. They had to rip out the whole thing to see that they actually had a pipe that was basically a pathway for mice. So they got rid of the pipe, but there was still a mouse.
And he was in the corner hiding, like, "Oh, please, big bad Nazis, don't smash me, so I can have my vermin children." You know, and I had to get rid of her. I had to get rid of it. And that's the thing. A lot of these neocons on radio, they look at the Syrian refugees like that mouse. They just want to hit it with a hammer because it's invading in their home. It went into the fridge and made a freaking sandwich and took out a beer. I mean, that's how they feel. How do you feel? Because I know that the U.S. manufactured this terrorism. The U.S. radicalizes these fake Wahhabis. They give them a Jesuit-written Quran in one hand and an ISIS flag in another. And, you know, with their Rolex watches and whatnot. And they put them out there. And then we go out there along with France and other fighter jets, and just blow them to smithereens, and they have nowhere to go. So where are these people going to go? I mean, and the worst thing about it is that the government not only uses these refugees as a tool of economic destabilization, but then also puts their own manufactured sleeper cells within these refugees. I mean, this is a dire situation. I mean, what do you think?
You know, they totally use the Muslims like they use the Jews. And it's sad. And, you know, the difference between the Muslims and the Jews is that there's so few Jews. And I can't say that every Jew is educated, but they try to push that in the culture. I don't know, it's not in the religion. I guess it's in the Torah, teach your children. So it's like kind of this strong emphasis on teaching the right person, you know, teaching your children and teaching them the right thing. And they don't do that. And because they don't pride themselves on educating their children and their own selves. I'm not saying everybody, because I know personally a lot of really intelligent, smart, well-written, famous artists, talented people. This is just like based on like 80% illiteracy rate going in Egypt kind of thing. Fact, like, which bothers me, because I don't want to see people that, you know, less than me, you know, or not to see them to their full potential being held down by the government. You know, so these people are really suffered, and a lot of them are glued to their iman, you know, told what to tell them, and they don't know. So once a person might be elevated, I think that I don't really have a problem with these Syrians coming here. I really don't. I mean, this is America. You know, I don't really buy into that. I think that I remember when the Jews were, you know, when I read about the Jews being not accepted by America.
It was the same type of American rhetoric that was happening then. It's going now.
And people hated the Jews. They thought they were disgusting. People think that the Arabs are disgusting.
Well, this is the Fourth Reich. They hate everybody equally.
Yes. I think so. That's what it is. And then they hate the Mexicans.
And they want to get everybody against everybody.
And they hate the Dominicans. And then they'll get everybody to arouse hate. But meanwhile, they're just hating on everybody.
You know what it is?
But themselves.
It's a game, Jah Jah. It's a game, and I can prove to you it's a game because live on the Bruce Montalvo show, if you got a deck of these cards, whip them out, folks. Because we're about to play the Illuminati card game, all right? And all you got to do is go to Google, and you can play too. So just pretty much go to Google, type in Illuminati France card, and you'll see exactly what the New World Order pulled off. And you see there's a French Illuminati card. They have the Eiffel Tower there. It says Liberal Government Control Nation. All right? And it has a couple of other cards too. What, New York? What happened? After the attack at France, you had down the street in Barclays, people saying that they were going to have some type of emergency management FEMA drill down there. Immediately following the French attacks. And here I'm showing you in France and in New York, there's an Illuminati card for New York. So I'm showing you all the cards that are in play.
But what
the
about
French
Barclays?
Card.
Where's Barclays?
There's a New York Illuminati card.
Okay.
So I'm telling you the sequence of events. After the French attack, or the French fake false flag, New York started talking about 9/11 nostalgia, which there's a card for as well. And then you have Israel, who is controlled by who we believe to be Nazis, pretty much. I mean, they co-opted. I mean, Adolf Eichmann created the whole Zionism
Well, he
thing.
pushed the concept
He
of it.
pushed it.
Yeah, he got behind it, he'd probably say.
Exactly. And Mischling, these Germans, pretty much, and Lebensborn, under those programs, they took over Israel and the United States. So they want to say Jew, 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 nothing. It's Nazi, Nazi, Nazi.
Well, explain how the Mischlings got into Israel. I mean, they went in, you know, posing as Jews, but they could say that they were Jews because they had some Jew in them. But at the same time, a lot of them were still working for the Reich.
Absolutely.
So they might have had the last name for some weird reason, but they were baptized. And then they were like third generation, maybe Jew or something in one side of the family.
But that's the thing. Look, they're using those attacks as a strategic, political talking point for not only global warming, because the attacks happened right around the G20 Global Climate Change Summit in France. So how convenient. And then, of course, you had the Democratic debate that happened the day after the attacks. So how convenient. They have something to talk about. They give him a script.
That's it. I mean, who's writing the scripts though? Tavistock?
Of course.
Of course, dude.
Of course.
The really smart ones.
NPR. And here's the thing. Even the president of France has said that the Illuminati, or the Illuminae, Omelette du Fromage, is behind the Paris terror wing. I mean, what else? What do you have to hear to wake up? I mean, do I have to grab a bucket of cold ice water? You have to do the ice bucket challenge to wake the F up? I mean, you have the French president, and I'm telling you, they're probably going to assassinate this guy, too. I see it in his eyes. He's, like, real squirrely. You probably don't know what the French NSA is doing to this guy, what freaking type of malicious, just tormenting they're putting this guy through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's part of the whole.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
He's part of the whole plot.
They wouldn't have put him in there. I met people in France when I was there, very high level people, and they have an upper class, and they put whoever they want in as well.
We're looking at the coverage. There are no damaged buildings. There are no bullet holes in walls. There's no scorched buildings. There's no blood on the walls. Whatever stretchers they had, you couldn't really even see if there was a body in there. They could have just had a bunch of junk in it, and it looked like a body. I mean, it's obvious, it's clear that the Bataclan theater shootings were staged.
They could very well be. I mean, if anybody watches FX horror, I mean, there's better FX on the horror films that we see these days. It's so easy to stage something. I mean, they have
especially in American Horror Story. They got better effects than that.
Yeah, and it's like a science already. They do it like so quickly. They can do it even digitally. They can do it. You know, who's to say? How do we even know that picture there was anybody that was alive in that picture to begin with?
They had an Illuminati little triangle in the front of some restaurant that they had multiple on-scene drills. That's what it was. It was a black op.
Black op.
That's what it was. It was a French black op. The army is in Europe, so they used some Blackwater guys, some Army Europe guys, some of these guys that train over here during Operation Global Urban Warrior. So it's clear. And France was warned about these attacks. Iraqi intelligence warned them, and then...
Iraqi intelligence? Doesn't that sound kind of funny to you? Like an oxymoron?
Yes.
I mean, how are they so smart with their intelligence?
Yeah, like they're Mossad.
Unless it's Israeli. Give me a break.
Anyway, France had foreknowledge. Listen to me. Not only was there a magic passport, just like 9/11, but they had foreknowledge. Okay? Turkey warned them twice. Turkey warned France twice. Iraq warned them. So they knew what was going to happen. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, they decide what they... that just proves to you, they want to tell you the truth. They want to put it all out there because it's going to be found out. They already know that. What is it called? The Lockhart's theory?
Exactly right. Lockhart's exchange theory.
Explain what that is.
Well, that's what it is. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. There's a trace of that action, and you're going to be discovered. I mean, these people pulling off these hoaxes, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they're gonna be discovered, and they're gonna be caught.
But they also want to be. They don't necessarily.
They kind of want to be caught.
Well, this is what it is, Bruce. Because of that, they know that they would be caught, so they let it out themselves. And most people will override it because they believe so much in what the media is going to tell them anyway.
You know, France is using this just like Bush used it on 9/11 to attack Iraq, because France wants to bitch and cry. I mean, they have a history of getting their asses kicked historically in wartime. But they have been pounding ISIS more than the U.S. with their Raptor fighter jets.
You know what else is there?
And the very next day after the shootings, they waged an all-out onslaught. And I'm not trying to defend Syria here, but Syria is obviously the gem in the eye of the Illuminati beholders. I mean, they want it. They want it bad. It goes back to biblical times, these wars that they're reinstating.
Yes, and I want to talk about Mali because in France has traditionally absorbed a lot of people. They have a very strong stake in Mali for some reason. There's a whole neighborhood in France, right out of Paris, of Malis. They work very thick workforce over there. You see a lot of very indigenous Africans. So now, at the same time, at the Parisian attacks, you have something going on, bombs in Mali and hostages.
And Nigeria, too. And nobody's putting on the Nigerian flag on Facebook. No, they're all putting on the stupid, I'm freaking Ralph the idiot from The Simpsons.
Look
at me, I'm just sweet Charlie, man. I got a wooden spoon, man.
Je suis Rothschild. I am Rothschild.
No, really, I mean, you have to be an idiot to believe that a passport's going to be fully intact after this freaking ISIS bomber blows himself up. A passport's just going to magically not even be cindered, not even be scorched. It's going to be intact, crisp, clean. The same story we heard on 9/11.
Well, I think that they do that on purpose.
And de Blasio's bantering on about it here. Oh, be afraid, but don't be too afraid to shop. Obey, shop, buy,
yes,
obey.
Yeah, and my God, the biggest storm, most dangerous day of the year is Black Friday. I mean, I would never go out, especially.
And you talked about stealing. The biggest kleptomaniacs go out and Black Friday.
Animals. It's almost like Animal
Yeah, they're
Central.
animals.
Everybody goes out. People die from getting stomped on. This is totally barbaric.
Anyway, here's what's
We're regressing.
Here's what's crazy. I mentioned how pretty much it's the Masons running ISIS, right? But it's insanity because now they're going around and pretending to be, amongst the population. It's really just a bunch of manufactured intel fake Wahhabis that are just Jesuits. They don't even know it. And they're going around saying they're going to threaten the U.S., Times Square in particular. They're walking around. They made a video that they're among us. ISIS is among us. What am I, afraid of some succubus with two owls next to her feet? That's what has happened to America. America has been deballed. If you're afraid of these pale, just insipid morons who back in their Taliban, they can't even shoot their AKs.
Well,
I mean, you got more hardcore people in these gangs, in these Latino gangs and black gangs, who themselves throw out Masonic hand signs and don't even know it. So that's the thing. It's the Masonry who created ISIS and handles everything. They run supreme. They rule supreme. You got to know their magic handshake, and they're the ones that got ISIS out here filming among us, trying to just wage war on the people's minds, saying that we're going to be attacked, we're going to be attacked, we're going to be attacked in wake of the Paris attacks. Oh, watch out. Watch out, LAX. Watch out, New York. It's just another way for them to fuel you up more on your way to fly anywhere, for these fat black chicks that work NSA to fuel you up and then smoke a cigarette after. That's what I think. It's just a further erosion of your civil liberties. And there's moronic imbeciles out there that want it. They want to give up their safety, their liberties for a little bit of safety from the government. I mean, are they going to get it? They're going to get safety from the government?
Obviously not.
Obviously not.
Yeah, well, you know what they said, that if you control the medium, you can control the message, you control the population. So propaganda is everywhere, and once they've solidified their propaganda machine,
right,
internationally, they can control the populace at large. They don't care about the fringes like you and I. They can't do anything about it. You know what? There's always going to be people questioning, because there's always these people have feelings, and they can sense that something's missing and something's not right. So a lot of people just tune it out, the smarter ones. They don't have time to figure it out.
There's still a lot of sheeple out there putting on the French flag on their Facebook pages. I mean, you see them amongst your friends. And these are the libtards. These are the communitarian communists that are out there that are helping spread this New World Order medium.
And it's all
this
because
fake propaganda.
they really believe that that the Middle Easterners are really so hateful that they would actually try to kill them. You see, and that's really weird for France because it's like almost kicking them in the stomach because Paris and France is such an absorber of the Middle Eastern population. Even the French buses, the trains, they all have Arabic on it. Even their signs on the street have Arabic on it. It's really weird. When you go to Marseille, I mean, people are all there.
It's just a Nazi. It's just a Nazi takeover of France all over again. That's why they're sending these fake alternative media reporters who are really working for the CIA or PSYOPs, ABC, or most importantly, have Nazi bloodlines themselves.
Yes.
They're sending them back to the scene of the crime, back to France, back to what the Nazis coveted. I mean, you remember the pictures of Hitler, how he looked so just confident and strong strolling through France as they took over France in his Mercedes. You know, it's funny. I was driving through Arizona once, and I saw this display. You know how they have those billboards on the side. 40 miles until you see the thing.
Yeah.
12 miles until the thing.
The Grand Canyon.
Next stop is the thing with a Dairy Queen. Right? So I stopped to see the freaking thing. It turns out it was a mummy. But they had a lot of other artifacts there as well. And they had Hitler's Rolls Royce. So they had a Rolls Royce that Hitler drove around in, possibly. So I'm telling you, these Nazis, they love to go back to the scene of the crime. They're just like braggadocious and boastful. And
where do you think
you hear them on the radio?
You think they lived in Rustic Canyon, right? That's where we think that was probably Hitler's.
Before the Reich took off, they were over there in Beverly Hills getting sponge baths over in Rustic Canyon. Yeah.
All of them have allegiance to the Reich there in Laurel Canyon, and we figured out one symbol for sure, which is the OK, which definitely means that that they're kind of like from a bloodline of...
The OK symbol is a symbol that primarily Nazis throw out.
Primarily, this is not like everybody, like I think I did something with my hands to make a binoculars in my video.
Well, they use hip-hop artists to put it over their eye, right, or actors. But when they hold it out, like OK Corral, like Okie Dokie, they're pretty much just giving an homage to the Reich. Or when they put their finger over their mouths, covering
that means don't tell anybody, but I'm from the bloodline. That's what that means.
Yeah.
It doesn't just mean I'm a Mason. It means
no. That's what I'm saying.
It means
hey,
I'm
be
from
quiet,
that
I'm a
bloodline. They might not be saying that they are Jew haters, for example. That doesn't necessarily mean that because you have that Nazi in that bloodline, you automatically makes you an anti-Semite. The fact is that many people could change. It's just like that was the brainwash of their time, and the Jews. I don't really think that people hate just the general Jew, just like an average. I think that they use the Jews at them as a sacrifice. They use them because they were, they didn't have the strength. They weren't able to fight for themselves.
Many of them did fight. There was a Jewish resistance.
There was a few.
There were many Jews.
There was a few, but not enough. And they got the guns taken away, and they were just a mess, they didn't have social media like today. And I don't understand why they just stuck around, but they did for some reason, and from town, but there was no way of transportation, communication, and I think they were just easily victimized. They might have had more wealth at the time. There were maybe too many jobs, and people started like, fuck them, you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. You know who is running this whole OK Corral? It's the people who say they're Christian. Hitler said he was Christian too. Okay?
Yeah. He said that, right?
That's right. And we got an email from a listener, one of our good listeners, Linda. She sent me an email. Whoopi Goldberg says Hitler was a Christian. Absolutely. And that's how they hide. They hide, I'm a Christian now. But no. Really, you're a freaking Illuminatus, Alumbrado,
Satanist.
Jesuit, freaking Luciferian.
Yeah, they really believe in Satan. I mean, why in the Vatican is there demon? They have a head demonologist, and they have a telescope. What is it? Telescope?
Yeah, named Lucifer. Not just that, but they're experts in the Rituale Romanum, which is basically the exorcising of demons. So they should know the language of demons because they themselves are demons.
Yeah.
I mean, they worship demons. They worship the Black Madonna, which is Isis. They're demons.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole Paris attack has been basically orchestrated by demons so they can bring about this one world order.
Yeah, they want to just...
That's
Everything is
want.
just incremental steps on how to create worldwide drills.
I mean,
so
how much more fake could it get when you have Geraldo Rivera's freaking daughter over there ready and willing and waiting to break the news? The news of the mannequins and tomato sauce.
Yeah, she just happened to be at the soccer game.
And the soccer games where there were absolutely no explosions and it just looked like a bunch of drunk, scattered, just Frenchmen who had too much wine and stinky cheese.
And weird new bands that
pop out of nowhere that I've never heard of, and I've been doing music for 15 years. I've independently on my own. Obviously I know what the top music acts are, starting with Jah Jah.
Mm-hmm. You found out something about me.
What did I find out?
That I was on a record label.
That you're a Gemini.
That I was on a record label, the same as one of your favorite
bands.
Yeah, and then you were like, this is kind of, we talked about this, but then we didn't get recorded. And you were asking me about, my feelings about Danzig and everything. I don't really remember what it was exactly, but...
We touched on that, to ourselves. Yeah, I thought it was just crazy how you were on Imagine Records. They had Sam Hain, they had Danzig. I mean, growing up, I had buddies who had all of the Sam Hain discs and the new Misfits and the old school Misfits, and that's where we would hang out, sniffing paint and smoking doobies in the garage, playing loud music, drinking friggin' Steel Reserve.
Right.
That was my youth, and playing the showcase at Corona, sellout shows, with all my early punk bands. Yeah, that's how we did it. It's kind of very New Yorkish, actually. That's what old New York was like. Very scene, music. You guys are gigging all the time, hanging out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. But yeah, I think it's really dope. Not as dope as the Pope, who has got poop smeared all over his face from last time I checked. But I think it's very cool.
Yeah, you were asking me about
Imagine Records, the same as Danzig and Sam Hain, folks. I mean, it doesn't get any more hardcore and more rockin' than you sometimes, Jah Jah.
Yeah, you were asking me about something last week. You don't remember?
Go ahead.
About what I felt about Judaism, and like where I was mad at him and stuff like that. Why I was going off on him hard.
Go ahead. You can tell our audience.
Yeah, it's because when you were upset, you were like, "Oh my God, you guys are the same record."
I wasn't upset. I was flabbergasted. Not upset is the wrong word. I thought it was cool, and some of my friends who are even bigger Danzig fans thought it was even cooler.
Yeah, but what is Danzig? Danzig itself is from Dansk, and Dansk was actually a town that actually killed Jews. And this guy, supposedly his grandfather, great grandfather, could most likely was
Frederick Janklin.
Yeah, who killed women and was the first Nazi to kill...
He was one of the most vicious, yeah.
He was the first Nazi to kill women
it
and children.
makes sense. It makes sense because you hear the music in the Misfits, you cut off the baby's head and rape the mother. I mean, it sounds very Nazi to me.
Yeah, and what really got me was the fact that not only did I figure it out, but also, in particular, I have family from Riga. So, and I know that some, even though
it's personal.
Right, so there was a personal...
But you didn't know this, obviously, when you were on Imagine Records.
No, I didn't know any of this stuff.
Exactly.
I mean,
you just thought it was punk rock and cool.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're, cool, he was cool. But then I started seeing he started rotting away. I mean, he was kind of cute when he was younger. Sorry, Bruce, but he was cute,
Yeah, but now he looks like an old Puerto Rican lady.
Worse.
Worse?
Come on, he just looks like he didn't take care of himself or something. I mean, look at our bell. I don't know what the hell's with that.
You mean fart smell?
He didn't look so bad when he was so young, but then how does he... But then we figured out that he might be related to Ozzy. And the whole thing is that it goes into the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang movie. Yeah. So if you go into... what I always said when I saw Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, it says, this looks like it's based off some city somewhere. And I'll figure it out one day. It always drove me crazy. And it's Danzig. It's Dansk. And it looks just like it. It's exactly like it. And the Candy Snatcher... The Kid Snatcher was based off of Janklin himself, which was probably one of his sons. The guy who played it, which was, I can't think of his name right now, but the guy who played the
hideous guy.
Yeah.
Who played that candy
But
snatcher.
it looks like he also himself might be the grandfather of Aaron Aid.
Speaking of candy snatchers, I think, didn't they replace her? She was like some weather girl for Ramallah TV. I don't know who that is. I'm just kidding. No, but
Boom Bust.
Boom Bust. Sounds like something that's X-rated.
Yeah, right. It looks like something you want to look at.
Anyway,
she's wearing a tight shirt and the size.
What do you think of Donald El Mamon Trump?
The Trumpster?
Coming out and saying he did it again.
Word up.
He did it again. He said that the Paris victims should have been armed. I believe in that 199%. I mean, I've shown you baby pictures of mine where I'm holding an AK-47 at age 5.
That's 5 months, right?
No, 5 years old.
No, 5 months. I saw you in diapers.
I had a little mini Beretta because my mom stuck one in there. She hid one from my old man. She put it right up there.
Her name is ISIS, right?
Enough of that. Next thing you're gonna tell them, my dad's real name is Osiris and I'm Horus.
It's true. They named ISIS after my mother-in-law. I know that.
And I am El Gran Horus, who shines every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so sure to whip out the iPads and go to the Bruce Montalvo show. It's one of the top shows right now on Spreaker. I want to thank you for elevating us to the level of excellence, ladies and gentlemen. So what do you think of that? I mean, I don't agree with Donald El Mamon Maricon Trump.
The Trumpster.
I want to hit him with like a bat. And I know many Mexicans out here in New York that took over the
Why
Guineas.
not just pitch him a ball and see how hard he hits?
I know many Mexicans
Probably
who took
can't play
over.
baseball.
I know many Mexicans, again, who took over Italian pizza-making jobs here in New York that have the same type of sentiment towards El Trumpster. They want to hit this guy with like a rusted pipe or something.
Okay,
They're really mad. But I agree with that statement that if the people in Paris would have been armed, I mean, actually, I don't agree with it because nothing happened.
How could you agree with it?
Because nothing happened.
Exactly.
I just remembered. Nothing. Wait a minute.
Nothing happened.
I just had a Homer Simpson.
If there's nobody that got killed, Bruce, well then why the hell they need to be armed in the first place? They were armed. They were like crisis actors.
No, actually, they have some of the most dystopian views towards arms in France. Actually, you know how pussy the French are. They lose every fight they're in. Mm. Yeah, but the thing I give them, though, is they're like, I throw my dingleberries at you in your fought in the overall
they don't
direction.
Care. Listen,
they're fun.
They had a very good attitude. Just keep everybody out. Just keep us in. And they keep strict laws and rules on their food.
At one point, they had a very high quality of life.
Very high quality.
But I'm telling you, from studying their history in the past, I mean, they have a worse fighting record as a country than Super Punch-Outs Gabby J. I mean, they're freaking they've never won. I mean, the Mexicans, we outed the French. Because the French, they own parts of Texas, California, Mexico, and the Mexicans single-handedly outed the French with pitchforks and a little bit of gunpowder. I mean, we kicked their ass.
Okay.
How come?
But they're not fighters. Okay, but they're not fighters.
Actually, I said that wrong.
What
My
do they need
people,
to be fighters
because
for?
I'm American.
What do they need to be fighting for? Most of the French, they want to be writers, they want to be poets, they want to be creative, they want to be fashion designers, they want to be something else that's more important than a freaking stupid-ass American fighter. They have the Germans next to them fighting. They have every other dumb thug around them. They're smaller people. What the fuck they need to fight for? So, okay, make fun of them because they don't want to fight. It doesn't matter. They still fight for their own rights.
They had a very high quality of life, and that's what I'm saying.
So that's what they fight for. That's all that matters.
They're being deindustrialized. They're being just taken down on purpose. Just like the British took down the German infrastructure. But it was the German themselves who just are demons, these German financiers who, along with the British, teamed up to do the things they do today.
Okay. With
the defense contracts and the constant perpetual war. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is propaganda straight out of the CIA, straight out of Army PSYOPs. This is propaganda. Don't buy into it. Nobody died. It's a total hoax. Where's the blood? Where are the scorched buildings? Where are the bullet holes? I see nothing at all.
Can I just say why they want to get into Syria and the Middle East?
Go right ahead.
They know where the oil is. Do you know how? because they have Tesla technology. They use HARP. They know where the oil is. They know where the minerals are. They know where the mines are.
Makes their job much easier then.
They could just go zing, 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 gold, people, move! People, gold,
That's
people,
right.
move! Go.
What is
rubies,
that? It's
rubies,
directed technology, directed energy.
They just move people, get out of that land. There's too much going on there underneath. We see like rubies, lithium, whatever the hell they need. And they...
Look at this. This is something that I find to be very interesting. And you have, again, Stratford Wars out of Austin. They're sharing the same article as the Knights Templar International, pretty much admitting, confirmed French government knew extremists before Paris terrorist attack. Breaking, Paris attack was Western backed. Duh, but Paris attack? Like, oh yeah, it really happened. When all they did was grab a bunch of dolls and dip them in tomato sauce? I mean, these are the people that told you to watch out for the squibs and control demolition and pull it and all this stuff. And now they're telling you, oh wait, rewind. That didn't happen.
That's what I said
Believe
at the beginning
the
of the
government.
show.
Obey.
That's what I said at the beginning of the show. All these fake truth, patriot talk show hosts that were once conspiracy theorists are now part of the mainstream. They don't debunk anything. They don't question authority. Even the other night, we heard one of our deep, dearest friends complain to say that, that some of us have to watch what we say in times of war, and then the Pope just declared war. Yeah, Himmler's children, grandchildren, whatever.
But I tell you what, these people are right though when they say it's the New World Order's motto that we lose and they win, because that's how they look at it. They look at it like they're American Jesus from freaking Bad Religion. They're just telling us that we're going to lose and they're going to win, and there's nothing you can do about it, and they could fake a million hoaxes and throw a bunch of mannequins and fake explosions in soccer stadiums that nobody even got any type of video footage on their freaking iPhone or whatever.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
That's the biggest red flag.
That's a red flag to me too. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the very...
They're just doing it to put in NATO Nazis everywhere. That's what they want. These are the same NATO Nazis that slaughtered Libyans, black Libyans, in droves, folks. They had them in droves, and they're going to do that again. For real.
Listen, just to reassure that this is the truth, is because this week, in Brazil, in a town that I visited, near a very famous town, if you ever saw the movie Moon Over Parador, it's called Ouro Preto. Beautiful little town, gorgeous, very famous, especially the surrounding towns from there, were very thick with minerals. I remember going to Mariana, which was like a back-end little town, and going to the corner store and picking up like 4 huge crystals, each one like $1, beautiful, big mineral. Well, what happened was last week is the whole damn town went underneath some toxic red sludge.
Oh my God.
They wiped everybody like out there, like homeless, like many people are missing, but everybody's homes is completely toxic, and I know why they did it. And they supposedly used some chemical plant that just happened to be built above on the top of the roof, on top of the mountain, that the dam broke, it dripped into it.
It just happened to break.
Yeah, it just happened to be in a very area thick with minerals. So a population of like a couple 100,000 people are just like, whoosh, goodbye. So
and again,
that's
part of the whole eugenics, the whole just Georgia Guidestones, population control, depopulation. And you know what they're doing? They're pretty much just painting smiley faces over their Nazi swastika armbands and saying, "Have a nice day," instead of "Sieg Heil."
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's happened.
America's been co-opted.
America's been taken over by Nazis.
And speaking of gemstones, this is Christmas time. We are just booming with new things, especially if you tune in.
Booming and busting.
We have like 30 new things just about to hit our line that are just going to make your mouths drip and drool. You should check out our new line. Some of our newer things are at Etsy.com. And that's ETSY.com. You can type in Antique Obsessions with an S, one word, or go etsy.com/shop/Antique Obsessions, or go to the other store we have, which is more tribal, warrior, leather, copper. We have sterling there, also some gemstones. We use everything that's real, and everything is stated, everything is checked. We test all of our metals, all of our sterling. We know it's
completely
real.
Vintage. I mean, I'm hanging out with Darth Vader from 300 BC. I mean,
that's an Antique Obsession.
We're looking at antiques, folks.
And the other store is called Conceptual Subculture. So that's more of the tribal leather stuff. So
Simone.
So you can Conceptual Subculture, one word. And we have a 50% off sale right now. You can go on there. There's no coupon necessary.
Orale.
But if you buy two or three things, you can be sure you get a special gift from us.
That's right. And with that, we're out of time. I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in to the excellence of radio execution, El Gran Minstrel, El Gran Maestro of Conspiracy, orchestrating this cacophony.
Menstrual?
Of conspiracy with my magic wand like Merlin. I said minstrel.
Marilyn?
Okay.
You're talking about Marilyn menstruating?
Minstrel. That sounds gross. Basically, what's she gonna menstruate out of? Her little ghost tail? What are you talking about? Anyway, we're out of time, folks.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in.
Jah Jah. Signing out.
Not the music you were expecting? Know what you're getting into with your music and your internet. Straight Up Internet is $50 all in, no hidden fees. And like this music, you can even pause it. Straight Up Internet. Know what you're getting into.
Banner University Medicine is dedicated to bringing the best medical care to the Tucson community. Our newest hospital was designed with your health in mind. With 228 private patient rooms, 22 operating rooms, and more than $50 million in patient care technology, your care and comfort are our top priority. Banner University Medicine, making Tucson's future brighter and your visits easier. Now open at 1625 North Campbell Avenue. Online at bannerhealth.com/University Tucson.